The Haunting Howl. June 2017, Manistee National Forest, northern Michigan, 10:45 p.m. The hum of Joe Barger's semi-truck echoed through the forest. The rhythm of the engine, a comfort in the otherwise unnerving isolation of the remote Michigan wilderness. The dense trees loomed on either side of the narrow road, shadows lengthening as the moon ducked behind the thick clouds. Barger, a grizzled Army vet, leaned back in his seat, one hand on the wheel, the other tapping nervously on the dashboard. His route, delivering paper mill supplies, was familiar, but tonight, something felt off. A sharp hiss. The truck jerked slightly as the air brakes began leaking. "Damn it," Barger muttered, pulling over to the side of the road. He switched off the engine, the silence that followed unnervingly loud. He climbed down from the cab, grabbing his flashlight and wrench. The ground was soft beneath his boots, the scent of pine heavy in the cool night air. The moon broke free of the clouds, casting an eerie glow over the forest as Barger crouched near the brake chamber. Suddenly, an odd sound pierced the night. A deep, guttural vocalization, part growl, part howl. Barger froze. He knew this forest. He had heard its animals before, bears, wolves, coyotes, but this was different. Barger froze. He knew this forest. He had heard its animals before, bears, wolves, coyotes, but this was different. A slow, uneasy chill crept down his spine. He stood up, sweeping his flashlight toward the source of the sound. The beam cut through the thick foliage, revealing nothing but darkness. Snap. A branch broke nearby, loud and deliberate. Barger's heart pounded. He instinctively reached for the knife he kept strapped to his belt. Whatever it wasn't scared of him. But when nothing else moved, the rational side of his brain took over. Probably just a bear, he thought. Shaking his head, he returned to the truck and continued the repairs, his hands working quickly despite the eerie tension crawling up his neck. Finally, the brakes were fixed. Barger wiped the grease from his hands, threw his tools back into the cab, and climbed in. He fired up the engine, eager to put some distance between him and whatever was lurking in the shadows. As the truck rumbled back to life, he glanced at the road ahead. It stretched out like a ribbon of darkness, bordered by trees that seemed to grow closer the deeper he drove into the forest. The unsettling noise still echoed in his mind, a sound that shouldn't have existed. He was wrong. Chattered the pursuer, 11:15 p.m. The headlights carved through the night, illuminating only the stretch of road directly in front of him. His grip on the steering wheel tightened as his eyes scanned the rearview mirror for movement. But there was nothing behind him, only the dark, empty forest. Then, out of nowhere, the truck shuddered. Barger's breath caught as something massive slammed into the side of the rig, the impact jarring the entire vehicle. He instinctively swerved, keeping the semi on the road with difficulty. His heart raced, adrenaline spiking through his veins. He saw it then, out of the corner of his eye. Running beside his 9-foot-tall truck was a creature, massive and horrifying. A wolf-like silhouette, but far too large to be any ordinary animal. Its dark fur rippled in the wind as it kept pace with the truck, its yellow eyes glowing with malevolent intelligence. Pointed ears jutted out from its head, and worst of all, its hands, long, clawed, and disturbingly human. Barger's mind struggled to process what he was seeing. What the hell is that? The creature let out a guttural growl, its fangs bared as it reached a hand toward the truck. It was fast, unnaturally fast. Panicking, Barger slammed his foot on the accelerator. The engine roared in response, but the beast matched its speed effortlessly. It leapt, slamming into the side again, claws screeching against the metal. Heart pounding in his chest, Barger reached for his Colt .45 handgun stashed in the glove compartment. Eyes locked on the road and the monster pacing him, he yanked the gun free, his hands trembling. He took a deep breath, aimed through the open window, and fired. Bang, bang. The first shot hit the creature in the shoulder, making it stumble, but it barely slowed. The second shot, he aimed higher, right between its glowing eyes. Bang. The bullet struck true. The beast let out an agonizing howl, a sound that echoed unnaturally, before it vanished from sight, collapsing out of view near the rear wheels. Barger slammed on the brakes, the truck screeching to a halt. The Vanishing, 11:25 p.m. The night was eerily still as Barger exited the truck, his hand still shaking from the encounter. He stood by the side of the road, flashlight in hand, scanning the tree line for any sign of the creature. There was no movement, no rustling in the underbrush, nothing. He approached the spot where he had seen it fall, but when his flashlight beam hit the ground, he saw nothing. No blood, no body, no sign of the creature at all. It was as if the beast had simply vanished. A cold dread gripped him. He had put a bullet in that thing's eye. It should be lying dead right there, but there wasn't even a trace. The woods were silent, unnaturally so. Barger backed up slowly, his flashlight sweeping the trees. His military training screamed at him that something wasn't right. He holstered his gun and hurried back into the cab of the truck, locking the doors behind him. The witnesses, 11:45 p.m. Barger drove, nerves on edge, every shadow now a potential threat. His mind raced with what he had seen. That thing, whatever it was real. He wasn't sure what scared him more, the fact that it existed or that it had disappeared without a trace. Just ahead, the headlights of another vehicle appeared. A Jeep pulled off on the side of the road with two men standing beside it. Relief washed over him, other people. He slowed down as he passed them, rolling down his window. "Everything all right?" one of the men called, his voice casual, but something in his tone seemed off. Barger hesitated, glancing at the dark woods surrounding them. "Yeah, just something in the woods," he said, keeping his tone vague. The last thing he wanted was for them to think he was crazy. The two men exchanged a look. It was subtle, but Barger didn't miss it. They knew something. "Be careful out here," the second man said, his voice low. "Things in these woods aren't always what they seem." Barger gave a tight nod, not waiting for any more cryptic advice. He hit the gas, pulling back onto the road. The Interrogation, 1 week later, June 2017. The truck scale house was busy with activity, trucks lining up for inspection. Barger waited his turn, sipping coffee, when he noticed two men in suits approaching. They moved with purpose, eyes fixed on him. "Joe Barger," one of them asked, flashing a badge. "We need to have a word." Barger tensed. Something was wrong. The men led him into a small, sterile office at the back of the scale house. They shut the door behind them, and the air in the room seemed to drop in temperature. "We know about the incident last week," the first agent said, his tone cold. "You killed one of our assets." "Asset?" Barger's blood ran cold. The agent leaned in, his face inches from Barger's. "What you encountered, it's classified. You're lucky we're not taking you in." They confiscated his gun and phone, issuing a veiled threat. "Stay quiet, Barger. This doesn't leave the room. Talk again and your trucking career is the least of your worries." The legend lives on. The eerie stillness of Manistee National Forest held its secrets tightly. Barger had been silenced, but the encounter with the Dogman would never truly leave him. Deep in the shadowy corners of Michigan's forests, the legend continued to grow, whispered among those who dared to venture into the woods. Some say the Dogman still stalks the forest, waiting. Others know better, it never left. And there you have it, another mystery brewed to perfection. If you enjoyed sipping on today's tale, don't let the intrigue end here. Hit that subscribe button to keep your mug filled with new mysteries every week. Give this video a like if it got you thinking, and drop a comment below. What's your theory? We'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you've ever had a mysterious experience of your own, share it with us in the comments. Who knows, it might just be featured in our next brew. Until next time, keep your mugs warm and your minds open, because the truth is always brewing here on the Mystery Mug channel.